Now, U.S. President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs have pushed stock markets in the bear zone. Stocks on Wall Street were buzzing in the red as major indices like the S&P 500, NASDAQ and the Dow Jones slumped more than 5% on Friday. The broad-based S&P 500 fell by 6%, ending the trading session at 5,074.08, while NASDAQ declined by almost 6% to close the day near the 16,000 mark. On the other hand, the Dow Jones Industrial Average crashed by 5.5% to less than 40,000 levels, the lowest since August 2024. In the midst of the market downturn and retaliatory tariffs by China, U.S. President Donald Trump touted the tumbling stocks as a chance to get rich. In a post on his Truth Social account, Trump said that his policies will never change for investors. He also added that this was a great time to get richer than ever before. The U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said that U.S. President Trump's new tariffs are larger than expected. Powell also cautioned that the higher tariff could raise inflation in the coming months. He also warned of an elevated risk of higher unemployment.
Target range for the Fed will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. The size and duration of these effects remains uncertain.
Meanwhile, economists and analysts have criticized Trump's tariffs. Analysts say that this is the worst policy in the last century.
The tariff war has begun. China's not just going to sit down. Ironically, this is the best that ever happened to China. China tech is going to steamroll ahead. U.S. tech is the one that continues to be hamstrung. And I think this is something where it's the worst policy mistake in 100 years.
Now, Democrats also lambasted U.S. President Trump's tariffs. Senior Democrat Chuck Schumer criticized Trump's move to impose a tariff on 10% on exports to the U.S. He also mocked Trump for taxing penguins and not Putin.
The tariffs are so poorly planned that he's taxing penguins, not Putin, because the tax is levied on the herd in McDonald Islands, where only penguins live, but he's leaving Russia alone. Thank you for that little addition.
Now, for more on this, a correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Listen to this.
As the markets closed on Friday, heading into the weekend, President Donald Trump's tariffs have triggered significant global economic turmoil. China, for its part, has retaliated with 34% tariffs on all U.S. goods and filed a complaint at the WTO, the World Trade Organization. U.S. markets plummeted once again, with the NASDAQ now entering a bear market. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell warned that these tariffs may cause inflation and slow growth, maintaining the federal funds rate and rebuffing President Trump's call to cut rates. J.P. Morgan analysts raised the U.S. recession risk to 60%, and bipartisan senators are now introducing legislation to require congressional approval for future tariffs. The White House says the president has already had some positive talks with leaders of some countries, and it's understood that those talks and perhaps negotiations will continue into the weekend. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.